Hello, I'm attorney Annabelle Catania, and I'm here with Enzo Bankerin, and today we're going to discuss what young couples should think about prior to getting married. So Enzo, I hear you have got questions for me.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk prenup because I think that's a big question a lot of people have. So when you're going into a marriage, do you think this is wise to do? Or do you think it's like something that, maybe if I had more assets or whatever, that would be worth pursuing? Like, what are your thoughts?
So prenuptial agreements are agreements between parties that are getting married that establish what your rights and obligations are during the marriage and if you happen to get divorced. They might have plans in them as to what, if you have children, how that's going to look, if you are in a divorce situation. One of the things, though, is if you don't have a lot of assets at this point, you can enter into a postnuptial agreement down the road if that's something, but a prenuptial agreement might not be necessary. However, if you are a young adult that is going into a professional career and you are probably going to be the major breadwinner in your family, even if you have very little assets today, you might want to think about a prenuptial agreement, especially if the person you're going to marry may not be in a career field that would garner a lot of income or a lot of potential to move up. So it's something to consider and something to discuss with your attorney.
Okay, so another question. So, if I get to a point, I'm at the wedding day, we get married, all this stuff. I have a house already, right? She's moving in, my house, all this stuff. Is this something that's, obviously we trust in a good marriage, all this thing, but should I be, deeding the property in her name as well? Is that something that you think that I should be discussing? Or I don't really know how to think about that type of thing.
So one of the things you need to consider is at the time of marriage, how long have you owned that house, condo, or whatever it may be?
Okay.
If you closed on the home a week prior to the marriage, deeding the house to the other person is not going to harm you as much as if you had owned it for years prior to.
Gotcha.
Let me explain why. Because even though during the marriage, your name is only on the property, during the marriage, any payments that you make, that's considered from your income, that's considered marital labor, and that's considered 50% your spouse's. So any improvements made to the home during the marriage, that person, even though that property is a premarital property and you have a majority interest in that property and that it's not in the name of your spouse, they still will have a claim to 50% of what is considered the marital interest in the home.
Gotcha.
Okay? If you have placed a large deposit on the house or condominium, whatever it is, and then you get married a week later, I would caution you, because if you deed it into their name, it's considered a gift. And so, right. So it's considered a gift. So even though it was premarital, now that you've deeded it, they're entitled to a claim of 50% of the entire property.
Gotcha.
So some of the things you have to consider, what is the situation? Is it something that I want to do? Of course, we all go into the marriage with the idea that we're never going to get divorced. And that's how it should be, but you still have to protect yourself.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for coming and speaking with me today. If you have any questions about prenuptial agreements or postnuptial agreements, we would love to help you here at Legal Counsel PA. Please give us a call.